The second church service is geared towards students more, I feel, with the livelier music and just the way things are done.
I find to me it's a very inclusive service. I feel like I'm very involved and I really enjoy it. It's definitely for the younger crowd, I would say.
I remember the first gathering actually, and it started off being very production-esque, and we had lighting trusses set up, and we had a stage crews with shirts that said stage crew on them, and that was, back in the day. What hasn't changed about the gathering is that it's always been about the music, which is what I find to be most powerful, the most powerful form of worship, especially for me.
Well, this gathering service is ran by the students, and traditionally it has been a more contemporary service. And for those in the community, as well as the students that prefer that type of worship style, it meets their needs. How I would describe it currently is it probably is maybe a little bit more balanced than it was in the past, in that the music so far this year hasn't had drums, so probably a little bit more accessible for those who are more traditional. So the One Church Project is about inclusivity. We're wanting to have the majestic service and those from the gathering come together and to worship. So it's a blended service, and in our attempt to create unity, harmony, and still yet be very eclectic.
When I think about merging the majestic and the gathering to be what we're calling one church, with most things, there's good things and there's things that I don't agree with. And I, in more recent weeks, have come to understand more the school of thought behind having one church, because I do think it's really important to, bridge together old and new, the old and the young, so that we're worshiping together, in one space. But at the same time, I also recognize that each age group has their own needs and their own desires and their own ways for how they need to worship. And I think it's important to have those two services so that people who need more quiet, or they need a more traditional service, that they have that available to them. But then people such as myself, who their worship is through music, that we have something like the gathering where it's very music centric, and that's the close connection to God.
There are multiple cultures here, so I think it'll be cool if it's a variety of way of preaching and services, like hymnals or gospel songs or different things like that, more rock kind of, instead of the contemporary songs.
I like the idea of having one church family that's not divided. I think it could be done in a way that could be good if the college students had an active part. So I would see it would be great if we had one service, but it was more of a college contemporary service rather than it becoming a service for older people. So if that happened and the college students didn't lose their identity, I think that would be great, because I don't really like having two churches. I think that we should have older people like myself worshiping with college students, but I want it to be a contemporary college-oriented service.
They don't want to see their service go. And the young generation says, we don't want to see our service go. So how do we reconcile these two very strong perspectives? And it's a marriage. And in a marriage, it is not just about my needs that I'm asking my spouse to cater to. In fact, honestly, love requires me to be other-centered.